morning again. Welcome to another episode. Is it an episode?
It should be.
If we were counting episodes, this would be like what, episode 23 and a half?
Yeah, we're getting up there. We're building up a record.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that the first one was kind of like a half,
Yeah,
maybe.
agreed.
Anyway, you are in the eXp Industrial Live. So thanks for joining us. Who we are and what we do is we're a committee that eXp Commercial has put together and identified as experts in the industrial field to help support and guide anybody in eXp Commercial and eXp Realty with any type of industrial questions, scenarios. We do get together. Our committee is a little special in the fact that we get together twice a month. There are other asset class committees. You've got multifamily, you've got triple net investments. We have hospitality that's just getting started. Any asset class you can think of, we probably have a committee for it. They typically meet once a month. We like to give you a little extra sizzle by bringing a guest speaker in the middle of the month. So, with that, we've got Frankie Valle running around in the background, getting ready to be interviewed.
Made it.
I can tell you a little bit
Here.
about, yeah, a little bit about Frankie's background. We're actually going to interview one of us this week. Frankie has been heavily involved in the industrial asset class pretty much since he got licensed. For those of you that don't know, Frankie is also the love of my life, my favorite nephew on the planet. And he is the one who decided to follow in my footsteps and actually take on real estate to a very high level. So we have a little bit of a family business, if you will, going on over here. Frankie was scholarship through college for athletics, for baseball. I think he went to the Junior College World Series, and I tell everybody his batting average during that World Series was 700 because I just know it was phenomenally high. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was super high. So not only was Frankie smart and talented, he's also very athletic. And when he graduated college with a business degree, he said, Aunt Pam, I'm coming back to Vegas and I don't know if I want to be a fireman or if I want to sell real estate. And I said, go be a fireman, please. Get all that steady stuff. And then when you have all these days off, come back to me and I'll teach you how to sell real estate. You'll kill it. And he didn't listen. He came straight to my office, started hanging out. He got the bug and never left. I will say, though, I threw him into a residential sale, one of the first things he ever did. And he quickly found out what he did not want to do. He painstakingly finished that residential sale and said, I will never sell another house again. What is wrong with people? He's like, don't they know that there's like Home Depot and Lowe's? They were complaining about the color of the carpet, right? So if any of you out there are primarily on the residential side and you're feeling kind of like this is so emotional and I might want to do something different, commercial real estate is very different in that respect. It's very business-like, it's numbers oriented. There's not much emotion behind it because it basically, the underwriting has to fit a spreadsheet. If the underwriting fits the buy box, you're usually a go. If it doesn't, how can I make it fit the buy box? Right? So we can get super creative. So Frankie decided to dive deep into industrial real estate. And it's not, he went into industrial real estate right before industrial real estate became sexy. So he didn't choose it because it's sexy. He made it sexy, is what we like to say. And then we've got Jabin on board with us. And Jabin, I'm going to let you tell everybody a little bit of your bio, and you're actually going to be interviewing Frankie today.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that, Pam. Frankie, I'm super excited to jump into this because I think it is very important to share your experience and your journey, and your path. You've reached an incredible level of success very quickly because you've surrounded yourself with mentors who've been able to guide you through that, and I think that's amazing. Quick background on me. Jabin Starnes, live here on the East Coast, based in the Charlotte area. Own some real estate, investor, specialize in commercial or industrial real estate. Do some international work with clients. I've helped with some, company expansions into Central and South America. And so I've started doing more advisory work too. That's something that I'm really passionate about. syndicated deals, raise money, assemblages. A good percentage of my day to day now is more investing and mentoring, training, co-brokering deals with other people. I really enjoy that. I love being there to help support and encourage others that are getting into the industry and guiding them through that process. It's something I'm really passionate about. But yeah, I'm really excited to jump into this interview today with Frankie. And so if we're good to go, Frankie, I want to first start off by saying what about industrial real estate, gets you going in the morning? I want to understand like your passion play of, you've got all these different asset classes that you could jump into. What was it about industrial specifically that you liked, that brought interest to you? Was it Pam? Was it one of those things you had no really foundation to work with? You said, hey, I've got this mentor here. She tells me I need to get into this. What is it about industrial specifically that got you going?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times, it could be a multiple different factors that put you in your niche. For me, it was definitely a lot of different things, but for the most part, things just kind of fall in your lap, right? So at the time, we were first real estate companies. Kevin Buckley's was the commercial broker. Pam was running the entire office on the back end of all the transactions. We had a lead come in that was for a warehouse, medical marijuana use, and Kevin, he's our big hotshot broker. He doesn't do anything under like 10 million or whatever. So it was a small little tenant rep lease. And that was my first taste of
Wow.
industrial and commercial tenant rep, everything. So I learned a lot through that transaction, and it taught me so much just about industrial tenant rep, all of the ins and outs, and comparing it to retail and multifamily as far as the aspect of development. It is just a lot more simple.
Mhm.
I have a little bit of a construction background. My family's all concrete carpenters and all that stuff, so I understand concrete tilt-ups a little bit more than a retail development per se. So I have a lot of experience with that, and it was just a lot of fun. And like I said, it kind of fell in my lap. And once I got that deal done, I just capitalized on that. I farmed in that area, cold called in that area, and just I stuck to the basics of farming and lead generation, because our broker and Pam are very old school, and the old stuff works. If it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just stuck with it. I loved industrial. I loved how simple it was. And, there's definitely a lot of intricate things that go in with it, just like every other asset class. But
Sure. Now, I know we've got a good amount of people that are, a little more fresh to the industry on this call that like to watch these. What is elaborate more on your day to day? Like, what were you doing on a day to day? We talk about, yeah, cold call and lead prospect. Okay. But walk us through a week in Frankie's life getting after full time. So you're full time commercial real estate broker, building your path. What does a week in Frankie's life look like at that point? Because that's something that I always tell brokers is every year your day to day, your week to week should evolve. You're not going to stay stagnant doing the exact same thing that you were year after year after year, because your time becomes more valuable, and the tasks that you're doing should evolve slightly over time. But there are some things that are tried and true. And what did that day to day look like for you getting started?
yeah, definitely. And, I will start off with saying, I'm 6 years in. I mean, that's still very, very new in the grand scheme of things, especially with commercial and industrial specifically. Most of these brokers have been in it 20, 30, 40 years. So I still have a long way to go. But I was very fortunate to be partnered with Pam and Kevin. A lot of our stuff was just, I'm working on their deals, right? We get referrals, they have their transactions, and I was fortunate enough to be the guy to do the grunt work and be the lead on those transactions. And then when we got those done, I would typically just capitalize on those. Like I said, I would always the educate, lead gen, follow up. Like, it was never as simple as just saying those three things, but it was that simple. Wake up, read market reports, Colliers, CBRE, whatever you can find. Just indulge yourself with as much market information as possible. Rents, comps,
Mm-hmm.
camps, everything, like everything for the area. You should know that for when you're speaking to clients. It really shows the level of knowledge and professionalism. And yeah, I think I forgot where I was going with that,
Yeah,
but
so you said education. I like that. It was like the three-prong approach. So education, lead gen, follow up.
right. So For me back, I'm trying to think. So back then, like I said, it was the same. It was the basics. It was just a little bit less of it. I wake up early, hungry every day. You got to go, make your rent, make a commission. I'm just starting out, broke, just bought a car on a loan, ready to make some money. So I'm up, 5, 6 o'clock, working out, showering, whatever I need to do to feel good for the day. And then I'm in the office as soon as possible. Either I'm clearing emails if necessary. If there's a transaction going on, I handle what needs to be done. But I'm straight to cold calling, sending out email campaigns, as much as mass marketing as I can. I never really bought into social media. Pam has always been great at it. In fact, that first lead was a Google lead. So it definitely,
Wow.
to some extent, it's just for me, I never bought into the fact of like Instagram, TikTok, I'm going to get an industrial building. It doesn't work like that. So it was always the older school things. And, it just comes down to meeting people, right? So you got to canvas the area, you got to drive, you got to pop into businesses and just walk around like, hey, is the owner in? A lot of these industrial owner users are landscapers, construction companies. They're just regular guys going to work. You can catch them on the way in or on the way out. It's just about, it sounds so simple and weird, but like, you just got to be a human and meet people and make relationships.
I love that you said that. That's something that I've been hitting on, is the human element. I feel like we've kind of lost that in this day and age where everything's digital. We have all this technology, platforms, social media, Zooms, which are great. It connects all of us, but at the same time, when there's a level of human element that's lost, right, Frankie, because of that. And we forget the most simple, basic, fundamental principles of sales is building relationships. I believe, I'm the opposite of pounding people into submit. It doesn't work. This is not, in my opinion, if you disagree, you disagree. I don't think this is an industry where we just pound people into submission. Blair, you've been doing this for a lot longer than I have, and Frankie has. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but it goes beyond just pounding someone into a submission. There is an element of relationship that has to be built, trust, credibility, and that there's no hasty way to do that. It just takes time, and that's time. That's all it is. And it's encouraging to see how quickly, though, Frankie, you have excelled in just consuming and diving in, making it a part of your identity. I would like to start transitioning into, from going just grinding it out, cold calls, door knocking. What's been the transition? Obviously, some of this is still the same. The fundamentals are always going to be there, but walk us through sort of that transition, the time frame when things started to change. How long into your career did it take before you started to evolve and really feel like you're starting to skip on your own? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great question. And just to finish up on that last question, though, the other thing that I did, I think was important. You really want to make sure you pick a good mentor, like Pam and Kevin. I had great mentors, and then you want to leverage that. So I was calling every industrial broker, all the SIORs, everybody, just introducing myself, saying, hey, I'm a brand new broker, brand new agent, just getting into industrial, and I can't wait to bring you a tenant for one of your listings, or whatever the case may be.
I love that.
And then just work your butt off to get a listing and to bring a client and do deals with them and make yourself known in the industry.
I love that. I want to, guys, call your net, like other brokers. That's something that, we see a lot of new brokers see other brokers as competition. I don't know why. Brokers are my best friends, right? And we're cool. And the better that you're connected with those people, the better you're going to do. They have your inventory and vice versa. And Frankie, right. I love that you did that. And really all the brokers that are actually out there producing, love that. I've not met one seasoned broker that's going to be put off by a new broker coming to the industry, just calling to say hello, excited, energy, positive. That goes further than you think. You might not know how to freaking close deals yet, but if you go in there with a good attitude and you're just there to help, they might send you. I've had opportunities where when I was getting started, Frankie, I would talk to a broker that's got too much business, and he'd be like, hey, you know what? You don't really know a whole lot, but you got a lot of energy and time, and I'll make sure that you don't screw it up. Here you go. Like, go run with this. And that, right. You might even pick up other deals from other brokers from other firms. you know?
Absolutely. Especially because everybody's so specialized, right? If you become best friends
Exactly.
with a retail broker, he'll give you his industrial, you give him your retail,
Boom.
and create a relationship like that. Most of the time, the big firms will keep it all in-house, but with the smaller brokerage,
Mhm.
you can definitely do that. Yeah.
Can
And
I jump in and add something
Yes.
to that? We
Yes.
have the coolest experiences in our group, and we practice that all the time at the Junge Group. However, a lot of times, two instances in the very recent past, we've gotten referrals from tenants who fired their agent.
Wow.
Now, when somebody calls us and they fire their agent, the hair on the back of my neck stands up because in my experience, it's typically not
Mhm.
the agent or the
Mhm.
broker that did something wrong. It's typically an unreasonable tenant. However, sometimes you just never know, right? You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got to feel things out. Both of those instances, we had very high level brokers on the other end of these transactions that these tenants fired. So what we did was we had our designated tenant rep call that broker. Hey, Dave, just want to let you know, I just got a call from XYZ. They say
Mm.
you're out shopping and that you previously represented them. How did it go? Do I fit into this? Blah, blah, blah. You will earn their respect so fast and they will
Mm.
actually give you more business. Don't go around them, call it out. Pick up, that's a great
Yes.
reason to pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. So, like these brand new tenant reps on my team elevated themselves like crazy in the eyes of big players in the city. Their name and phone number is now in their contacts,
Yes.
and they know that they're people of integrity. They're people that do professional work and that they would never mind answering that phone call. Just an example of how reach out to the other brokers.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, they got to be in the contact. That's something that if you're not saved in the phone, it's you're not going to get your phone answered nearly as much by other brokers. So that's something that people don't think about. But yeah, you got to make an impression and get your name saved on their phone, and they'll answer your phone call. So
exactly. That's the whole point of that exercise, right? To call them,
yes,
say, I work with Kevin, I work with Pam. That way, when I call them back with an actual client, they will pick the phone up and know that I'm a new agent with a established broker who will be able to
yes,
actually do this transaction.
mm,
Because that's the biggest turnoff from commercial brokers, getting calls from agents who might be residential or resi-commercial, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're going to have to do the whole transaction anyway. Oh, wait, no, now you need an LOI. Where does it end? Like we're just starting the transaction and you already need an LOI. So
yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So sorry to get off track there, but all played right into what you're talking about. So you started.
right.
You go.
So the
Let's go back into
transition,
that. Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So general rule of thumb, this is what I was told. So residential agents, it takes you 2 years full time to understand the industry, start making some money and know what you're doing, right? For commercial real estate, it's 5 years. 5 years full time, busting your butt, and then you finally will actually have an idea of transactions, leasing, sales, and a little bit of about your niche. Hopefully, I always recommend that you guys, we have a niche of some sort, whether it's a clientele, an asset class, or something to just really, really become an expert at. So for me, I kind of jumped the gun only because I had Pam supporting me. I
Well,
even
of course
pushed
you're
it
going. If
off.
you got Pam, of course you're going to jump the gun.
Yeah, I mean, I even pushed it off like a year or two. We were going to do it a year earlier, but like as I'm 3 years in, fairly successful as far as being a part of deals and knowing how to speak to clients and land tenants and get appointments and all that good stuff. So once it turned into like my fourth year was really when we were starting to, get new agents, needing to mentor and becoming more of like an admin manager mentor role. So that 4.5, 5 year mark is when I became the first mentor with the eXp commercial. I had multiple apprentices and it was a lot. It was a lot for me because I not only had to work on my own business and learn
Mm-hmm.
and continue my own growth and knowledge, but now I have these new agents that are relying on me to provide all the information. So it was
Mm-hmm.
very, very fun and interesting, and it was a lot of COVID agents, but it was an experience. And yeah, it's a point in everybody's career. You got to either expand, you need to grow your team, or maybe you don't and you have your clientele and you're killing it. But at some point, there's a turning point from, like you said, just being the brand new agent, busting your butt all day, every day, to okay, now we got the big deal, we got a couple properties, now we can kind of change it up a bit, be more managerial.
That's huge. And yeah, Pam, I love what you said. I was thinking the exact same thing. When you start teaching fundamental, and here's another thing. I mean, you don't need to be in the business 30 years to teach people fundamentals, right? And so when you're able to start going back, and it's actually so helpful for us, because a lot of times as we continue to grow and scale, we'll start to forget the stuff that got us to where we are, and that'll become distant over time. And so it almost keeps us refreshed. It's just like a black belt. You know, they've mastered the basics. They the stuff they learned when they were a white belt, they've practiced and refined for so long, and everything that they do is built on those fundamental principles. And so when you start going back and you're having to teach other people how to do those things right, you're just refining those skills more and more. And in my experience, you get so much more access to deals. And again, what is experience in this industry? It's exposure to transactions. How many deals have you done? How many transactions have you been exposed to? How many problems have you encountered? And so when you have just the deals you're working on here, and then you start adding a few apprentices or mentees around you that are getting started, and they're bringing you their problems, and now you're firefighting your stuff, and you're learning how to solve all their problems, you're getting exposure to so many more deals, which just accelerates your experience and your growth curve, in my opinion. So that's huge, Frankie. I think that's a perfect time to start doing that. I know, Sean, can you mute your mic a second? I think we got you on here. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. So Frankie, at this point, you know, you've gotten to the point where you're starting to mentor people. You're bringing people along for the ride now. You've got it under your belt a little bit. And you know, for where are we at currently now, leading up to current day? Where are we at? How are things going? What are some new exciting things that are happening in your world right now that I would love to hear about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we're at a team count of, I think, 7 between, we have 2 residential agents, and we have me and Pam, and then we have 3 commercial agents. We have Jeremy Glore, he's my buddy from college. We brought him out
Nice.
here a couple of years ago. He's been killing it in industrial, office, and tenant representation. Then we have John Amatucci, who's a business broker and also has been doing a lot in tenant rep. That was also, I wanted to add, that's what kind of prompted us to allow mentees and apprentices. We just were getting so much leads, so many excess referrals and leads from eXp, from my own lead generation, from Pam, past clients, and all that. So that's what triggered bringing on more agents.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome, man. Well, this is exciting. I'm glad we got to talk about this more. I feel like for me, it's encouraging too to see, you know, we're relatively younger guys in the industry that are really getting in here and just shaking things up. And it's exciting, guys and gals. This is an industry that's evolving and changing. You know, it's so important though to look to those mentors, the veterans, the people who've been doing this forever. You know, people like Pam. Pam, you still look young and beautiful. Don't worry. Blair, looking great as ever. But guys like you and gals like you, Pam, that is, let's not lose track of that. Like, that is it. That is the grips that we need to hold on to as we evolve and elevate our own careers. But also, we have a responsibility. We are going to carry this industry into the next sphere here, and I think it's so important to surround yourself with those kind of people. So,
it's essential. It's essential. You cannot do this business without a successful mentor or a bank load of money until you make enough mistakes to figure it out on your own. But
right.
Yeah, don't undervalue mentorship or education. It's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add that if you're like rounding out Frankie's career of where you're at now, where he's actually at right now, if you want to put a price tag and a transaction on it, is we are breaking ground this week on 100,000 square foot brand new industrial project. So we'll be selling a $40 million project, and he's been an integral part of that. And he's been an integral part in the development of it, right? So we have a developer who has developed mini storage. You know, he's developed everything around it, but he's never developed quite condo warehouses. And so Frankie has been such a great influence in his decisions in what to build, like to be of service to your client like that, to be able to tell them, oh, in this submarket, This is the gap analysis. This is what's going to sell for the highest dollar per square foot. Like, what is the highest and best use for industrial or warehouse for that land, right? That's what Frankie brought to the table. So at the end of this year, we'll be closing $40 million worth of sales. That's the crescendo of where he's at right now.
It's incredible. A humble spirit. A humble
Right.
spirit.
I didn't want to mention it, so I did.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
Well,
I was trying to pull it out
actually.
of him, but
Well, I mean, hey, so 2023, I did 20 million. Between the rest of the team and Pam, we got over 55, I think 55 million. So it's my best year yet.
beautiful.
My
Beautiful.
biggest client, other than our developer, is a company who does logistics. They just came about from calling on listings, and my first conversation with him was, I hate commercial agents. None of them answer the phone. None of them are this, none of them are that. So those are the best starts to the calls when you can convert that. So I just kept working him over, winning him over, telling him how hard it was going to work, and I understand, and all that jazz. And he was one of my biggest clients right now. We got him in 15 leases in the last 6 months across the nation,
Wow.
working with different DMBs. It's been great.
That's incredible. And hey,
All
that
industrial,
again,
dock high, everything. Yeah.
boom. And hey, again, power of eXp. We're able to grow with our clients, go with our clients where they go. It's incredible.
Right.
Now,
And
I know,
other brokerages, you can do that. You just give your client away or 50% of the commission.
100%.
When you're doing tenant rep and buyer representation, it takes a lot to give that much away, at least in my brain. Because I procured them, I did everything, you know what I mean? And for me to give that client away or most of the commission, that just is heartburn being so luxury with the eXp model.
But Frankie, how long ago did you first when was the first interaction with that client? I want to put a timeline on the process of how long this relationship was fostered before we've gotten to present day. When was the first
developer or the logistics client?
Logistics and the developer.
The developer was Pam's contact from like 30 years ago.
Okay, bingo, got it.
Sort of there.
Process. Yeah, logistics guy.
Yeah, the logistics guy. So we had a listing on Jones and DI here in Vegas. It was an office building. He just called to see if he could do his use there, put his business there, and sure enough, absolutely not. It's a logistics company. It's an office building.
Right.
But that was about, I'd say 2 years ago. Pam, was it about 2 years ago? I think, yeah, like around 2 years ago. So from that initial call, it probably took about 2 weeks of following up and phone calls, and before he could, let me have a chance, say, all right, here's a transaction, just handle this lease in Vegas for me, and then we can go from there. So I handled his lease here in Vegas, 12,000 square foot warehouse, and then we subleased half of it for him. And then he signed with me to have they have a big contract with one of the biggest distributors right now, and they are expanding in every single state, multiple cities per state. And then I'm crossing my fingers, but by the end of this year, he's going to turn every single location into purchases. So he's in over 100 locations, and then we're going to turn every single property into a purchase, whether it's the same building or a new location. So that'll be a huge endeavor.
Incredible. Guys, all from a call on a listing. Again,
you never know how it's going to happen. Could be a mailer, could be a sign you put on a water bottle, could be a Post-it note you left at a bar for somebody, giving them the IRR or something. Like, here's the funniest stories about people. I sent a lady an email campaign for 6 years and she never responded, but she said she wanted to buy a school 6 years ago. So I sent her schools for 6 years, and sure enough, 6 years later, she calls me, hey, that one for 10 million? Yeah, that's perfect. What? Amazing. That one blew my mind.
I love that. I love that. Well, I would love, Pam, Frankie and I already talked about this. I do think we'd love to share some stats with everyone before we wrap up the day too. But
we got a question. Sorry.
Yes, questions. I want to see, does anybody have questions? Q&A.
If I were brand new in the industrial sector, what are the things I need to know about my client to make sure the sites I'm bringing to them works for their business? Absolutely. So a lot of industrial clients are going to need specific things, right? So for my client, he needs at least a dock high, and then if there's an additional drive-in door with a minimum of a 12-foot clear height, that would be beautiful. If he just had the dock high and it was at least 5,000 square feet, he could make it work. But every single company is going to be a little bit different. It could just be very general and they need this amount of warehouse, this amount of office. But if they're dealing with semis, box trucks, etc., they're going to need to have docks and cross truck terminals and all this stuff. If they're cold storage. They need to have pre-existing cold storage. Not every company is going to go in and re-outfit that. It's over several hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million build out. So it's just a matter of having that conversation with your client and discovering exactly what they need. That way you don't show them anything that wouldn't be a perfect fit. You want to show them the good and the bad, but it needs to be within their criteria of selected items as far as the dog,
Those discovery calls are integral, Pam. I mean, and that's the more you understand, you gotta look at it, Frankie, as, you are an extension of them. And the better you understand their operations. I mean, it's one thing, right, to just ask some preliminary qualifying questions about their needs, but a lot of times, we're the experts. Tell me about your business, right? Tell me what you got, and I'll tell you. I'll ask you questions. We'll dish it back to you, because there's going to be things that come up as you start asking questions about their operations that maybe there's something that they're not thinking about that they may need, or a suggestion that you thought of that they might not have thought about. And those discovery calls are huge. So that's a great question.
And you should definitely be visiting these sites, their headquarters. If they have existing locations and you just won this client or you're trying to win the client, go be a human, meet them at their location, see what setup they have. Do they have how many square feet? Do they have dock highs? Do they have a big machine in there that needs to be implanted in the middle of the foundation, or what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A good example, like a real life example where you can actually cost your clients a lot of money, is that one of our clients, because of the size of their trucks, and it's integral, like you need to understand how long, how tall these trucks are, because not every roll up door is built the same. They could be a 12-foot opening, a 14-foot opening. You just don't know, right? Well, the size of his box trucks, he needed for example, a 14-foot opening. Well, it was advertised as a 14-foot opening, but the door didn't actually roll up 14 feet. There was a 1-foot low hang. And so literally when his guys, it cost him production, because what would happen, his guys would back up to the door. He'd have to have 2 at every location, because somebody would have to get out, get on a ladder and hold the door up while the other guy pulled the truck in. Well, it didn't always work perfectly. And this was during COVID. Remember when materials shot up like crazy? So every time his guys at this in particular location would crash into one of the doors, it was something stupid. It was like a $25,000 repair or $26,000 repair. So because it was a smaller space, I think he had like 4 doors. He just went in and replaced every single one of the doors. He was like, "You guys are killing me." But like that was a time killer. It was a money killer. It was just an expense through and through. A 1-foot differential of, no, the door only goes up 13 feet. Those are the intimate items you need to understand, or you will have unhappy clients and business.
And you can't always rely on information that's inputted in the LoopNet or CoStar. It could just be some, associate or some paid hourly worker who's just paid to do that specific job and has no idea about the property or real estate. So that's why it's very important that you put eyes on all these properties, whether it's you or a partner agent or just a representative of the company. But just for those exact reasons, if it's a 14-foot clear height, but the door's a foot lower, that's not really 14-foot clear height, is it? Another real life
example, regulated.
What's that?
I said it's not in commercial. It's not, we're not regulated the same way that MLS resident. It's not. And so
exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Another real life example. It seems so silly, but if you don't know what you're looking for to double check and triple check these things, we had a client who was in a frivolous multi-million-dollar lawsuit because he didn't have enough bathrooms per employee per square foot.
California.
How does that happen? How do you not have enough restrooms? And it's not like it's a big operation. There's only a handful of people. So it was like one extra toilet would have saved him $5 million. It's insane. So learning every day.
That's right. Yeah. Blair, I wanted to make sure you guys saw this. Blair said, "I think creating/joining a mastermind group is something virtually everyone misses. We have a group with a real estate attorney, a 1031 QQI, an industrial developer, a commercial banker, an engineer, an economic development executive, and a title commercial company that focuses on commercial." Blair, that sounds like a stacked group right there. And I thank you so much for saying that, because it is definitely overlooked. And your team, we talk about that all the time. I mean, having not just a team, but guys and girls in your corner that that you can lean on each other, and they're, you're not getting invoiced every time you seek counsel from someone for something, right? You build those relationships and you help each other out, and that's going to make all the difference. So Blair, I appreciate you saying that. Build your team, guys. Pam, right? Well,
Yeah,
do we
absolutely.
have?
And it's so true. And I love that. I've been in a couple different like BNI groups and things, just trying it when I was very early starting it. It's so true. And the collaboration, it's so important. And also like building your vendor list, like you should have the same handful
Yes.
of title and escrow officers that you offer, commercial attorneys, like all those people you listed, commercial contractors for your tenants and all that good stuff. You definitely want to have great relationships. You don't want them getting billed top dollar for everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's see. Other than we got a question. Is it Anton? I want to make sure I'm saying it right.
other than on-the-job
Anton.
training, how do you
Anton.
keep yourself educated?
Yes.
What resources, tools, trainings, and so on keep you sharp? Thanks, Blair, for the mastermind option. Anything else? Yeah, so that's the one big thing difference between us and like a Colliers or something. We definitely throw all the mentees right into the deals on the job. We don't have any other like cold call for a year or anything like that. It's just you're on the transaction day one, go show it, go throw them to the wolves. That's how they're nothing else. That's
100%.
that's how I was introduced. But as far as keeping yourself educated, there's so many free resources. All the big box brokerages come out with quarterly reports, annual reports for asset specific, retail, multifamily, industrial, office, hospitality. Every single quarter, every single year, they have very, very intricate reports on leases, sales, investment sales, developments, et cetera. Take them with a grain of salt. They're all going to be very different. Make sure you look in the fine print to see what types of property they use. For example, NAR, they have a commercial report every year, every 6 months, but they specifically only do properties. I forget, it's either over or under 2 million, but it's either over or under. And that's a big thing to understand, that these are only under a certain price or size range. And a lot of them do that. They make these reports based off of the transactions that they have, which is amazing. But if you only have big box industrial, then those numbers are going to be what you gravitate towards. And you can use other sources, but from what I've seen, like looking in the fine print and talking to the people who actually do these reports, that's what I take from it. But yeah, you always want to know the market reports. You want to know where the rents are going. All of these also have forecasts, which nobody has a crystal ball, but if every single brokerage and commercial company is saying we're going to see a slight decrease in rents in the next 6 months or increase in rents in the next 6 months, I think you can confidently say to a client, this is what to expect based off of this information.
That's huge. Too, I think it's important to establish that as a habit in your routine. I love that you had said that. And in that order, educate, prospect, or lead gen, follow up.
Yep.
And just guys, 15 minutes a day. Jump on the computer. There was Pam, I don't remember who it was. There was somebody that came on and it was a tool that Google had where I think you've used it, right? Where you can select certain keywords or things that Google will send you in the morning, articles for hot topics that you want to see. What was that called? It's Google something.
You put me on the spot. I don't remember, but we can quickly find out.
But yes, there is something like that.
I'll post it in our workplace group. But
yes.
Basically what I did years ago was I set up Google search keywords. And so every time an article hits Google that matches those keywords, it sends it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just that simple. And if I found it a couple years ago, I can find it now. But I will post about it in our workplace group, which is the eXp Industrial Committee. I think it's just that simple. If you can get into our workplace and find our group. And if you're not a member of that group, please do follow us because we'll post fun stuff like that in there every once in a while. But it's a great way to get those articles data mined for you,
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times they'll come in the middle of the day or whatever. Don't let that take you off track of whatever you're supposed to be doing at that time. If you're following a time blocking plan, what we like to do, I'm a Google fanatic. I use Google for everything. So I use Gmail. Gmail has folders. It doesn't have to be Gmail. Whatever platform you use probably has folders. Have yourself an education folder. And every time you see something interesting, put it in your education folder so that when you do wake up in the morning and you educate, just go to the folder and there they all are for you magically.
I love that.
Best advice.
Yes.
And
we'll
here,
take that to the bank.
Yeah, I love it. And then I forgot about this site. I used to use it all the time, but when I was working with one of my investment groups that I don't work with any longer, but it is a great site. And I'm going to put it in the chat right now. It's called Fred. It's just economic data from the St. Louis Fed. It just has,
Here.
it has great information as far as, CPI, gross domestic product, all that good stuff, unemployment rates. And that was just another resource that isn't very commonly used.
I love that. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's see. So, did we have any other questions for now? I know we want to save a little time for stats to look at market reports if you guys wanted to. Any other questions that you guys have for Frankie? This has been amazing and very encouraging to think for a lot of people on this call. Just a very real, down to earth, straight up. Hey, this is the journey. On a timeline, and what you've accomplished is insane. And I think we can tie it all back to fundamental things. One of which is you've got to have people in your corner, mentors to help bring you up. Jumping right in, just boots on the ground, thrown to the wolves. That's the best way to learn. Educate, lead gen, follow up. I love that timeline, that procedure. Guys, that is how you become an expert in this industry. It takes time, it takes energy, takes discipline. Frankie, you're getting up 5, 6 o'clock, going to the gym, studying, researching. You've already been up for hours before people even started picking up their phones to work and call. Those are the types
I
of
work
things.
out from home now. I don't go to the gym anymore. But yeah, that's what when I first started.
Yes, exactly. So I love that, and now you're soaring to incredible heights. You're doing a lot, and it's exciting and it's very encouraging. So if we don't have any other questions for now, I think it'd be a good time we can jump into some stats to wrap it up. That is you're the stats guy. You know your stuff. So
Sweet. I love it. Well, let me pull it up. Should we try to use our new Moody's analytics?
I think we should.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we should. Well, that's a great idea. This is the sauce.
All right. Can I share my screen?
Yes. Or
Awesome.
let me see.
Let me sign in.
You are available to share now.
Perfecto.
While Frankie's pulling that up, just to make a note, guys, if you're not familiar with Moody's, get familiar with it. We had some people that were kind of upset about swapping Reonomy, but I'm just going to tell you, don't complain about it until you've checked the grass on the other side, because it's actually greener. So I think it's going to be a great tool for everyone, and I'm excited, Frank, for you to share this.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just logging in now. And yeah, I agree. I was a huge fan of Reonomy, but it's another great resource. And like you said, you got to explore all options. And also, the biggest thing in this industry is adaptability. You got to be able to adapt. Not every single platform is going to be available every single, all the time, forever until the end of time, right? Your
Right.
company or whatever brokerage or that specific company might change prices, change programs, all sorts of stuff. All right, I'm logging in right now. It kind of kicked me out for some reason. But let me.
Classic co-star. Love them to death, but man, they can be.
Oh, they're sticklers, man.
They're sticklers. They are. They know they got us.
Oh yeah, they won't let you cancel.
Sorry, Moody's. You're getting on Moody's. Never mind.
Oh, CoStar too, but
yeah, I was thinking CoStar, but I don't know about Moody's. I haven't formed a full opinion. I just know it's good so far.
Right, I agree.
We haven't been married long enough to
Exactly.
to see the other side. We're still in honeymoon with Moody's.
Exactly. Well, all right, let's see what we got here. So just logged in. We can go to all properties. And it's a little, as far as the function of it, it's similar to CoStar in the sense of, so here's the property tabs, and then there's another tab to do specific reports. But one thing I do like about this is every single, like the ownership, the tenant, the property manager, all those things are right in the same area, and their phone numbers and everything, versus where CoStar, you'd have to go to the properties tab or go to the tenants tab and do them separately. So let's go to reports. or nope, let's go to markets. And what do you guys want to do? You want to do industrial in, let's say, the West Coast?
Works for me. You guys throw down in the chat too if you want a specific market,
Yeah.
regional or local.
And I did a loom on this because it's very interesting the way they break it up. Similar to what I was saying, like with their market reports, like based off of the information they have, this is what they have as the prominent asset types. So like for multifamily, there's multifamily, student housing, senior housing, and affordable housing. But there's just office, there's just retail, and then there's flex and R&D, warehouse and distribution, and self-storage and hospitality. So it's a little different from, CoStar or Crexi as far as the names and how they delineate the different asset classes.
Mm-hmm.
You have a request out there for Tampa Bay area, Frankie.
Tampa Bay area, sure, let's do it. So Tampa, St. Petersburg, warehouse and distribution, summary of the real estate supply and demand market, indicators are below. So you got Q3 2023 effective rent per square foot, up up a percent, almost 1.5% from Q2, $6.50. Not sure how accurate this is as far as the Tampa market, but if anybody wants to chime in, please feel free. Vacancy rates just under 3%, 2.8. Job growth is up 0.4%. Household income growth is up 0.9%. And then we also can go into the submarkets of Tampa, St. Petersburg. You can go to Central Hillsborough, East Largo, and North Pinellas, Northeast Hillsborough, and St. Petersburg. So let's go to property details. Let's see what else we can. Yep. So they have all of the charts and the graphs and everything for those highly analytical clients. They have a 5-year forecast of the built and the absorbed properties, quarterly construction and absorption, Q3 and Q2 shows you how the oh, here we go. Year-to-date average shows you how things have been moving along. New construction by year. Insight. And then this is great. So Mary Lee, she's an economist who wrote this article. I mean, this is just gold. To me, like seeing this stuff is what gets me excited because it's just like credible information from a third-party source that you can then just relay to your clients. Like I used to love this saying when I first started. I got a commercial investment CCIM. It was just a magazine. There was a stat that said 39% of all multifamily properties were owned by commercial banks. And I thought that was just mind-blowing. And every time I would talk to a client or an investor interested in multifamily, it's like, hey, did you know 39% of all multifamily properties are owned by commercial banks? It's like, well, why is that? Well, it's because they make money and they're good investments and the banks own them. So that was always something I enjoyed.
Yeah, this is golden.
Yeah, look at interest rates. I mean, this kind of takes that website I just put in there and puts it to shame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is great. You can get an executive briefing, market overview, asking an effective rent, competitive inventory, household formations, absorption. Yeah, this is more than enough information than you guys would need. And make sure to just be cognizant of the dates that are attached to all these numbers and statistics.
And it's only going to get better, right, Frankie? I mean, these guys are Moody's this is new territory, and so they're rolling all this out. I mean, they're a massive data conglomerate, but they are. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're trying to compete with CoStar as a goal. I mean, they're
Yeah,
gonna
no doubt. And especially like they were saying, with our partnership, I believe it's more than just the standard brokerage to Moody's partnership. Like they actually are wanting us to provide significant feedback and, give them the keys to make this platform better. And if that's the case, then it should be increasing in value and, performance and everything significantly quickly because we have so many agents that should be using it and giving good feedback. So yeah, I love it. This is my favorite tab, new construction projects by size. It breaks down all the different construction sites, expected completions, and it even has
incredible
that they have the developer's information, their phone number. You can call them up right now. 190,000 square foot industrial site. I might call this guy today. Hey, it's Sun Lake Business Center. Are you interested in selling this development? Is it pre-leased? What's the situation? So this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then it even has the transactions for you. Wow, look at that. 2018. Key performance indicators, year to date, transaction volume, 10 most recent transactions. That's amazing. I don't think I've seen that on CoStar or Craigslist or anywhere.
No.
10 most recent transactions. That's going to be, in my opinion, the best indicator of the market, where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're looking at leases, the 10 most recent leases in a certain area, that's the information to bring to your tenants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many free months rent are on average are we getting? What's the TI allowance typically on older or newer buildings? Rolling cap rate, there's no information. 30 transactions in 2023. You got demographics, climate risk, and then you break down the submarkets again. But yeah, like I said, more than enough information than we would ever need.
And again, guys, this is
any
part of
question?
our tech package, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, like this is Reonomy was very, very strictly great at providing ownership contact information, period. End of story. That's it.
That's it.
Property information is wrong. Everything else was always wrong, in my opinion, from what I found. But the numbers were golden. That's why we loved it. But this is so much more. And you have the phone numbers that are accurate as well. Also, another thing that I thought was interesting on here, when you do get to the numbers and the contact information, it scales it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the least likely or the least recent check-in on that information, and then 10 is the most recent check-in of accuracy of that information. So they let you know how accurate this phone number could possibly be. And then yeah, overall submarket stats just right here: inventory, buildings, asking rent, effective rent, percent change, CRD, vacancy, the vacancy change, REIS rank, 3 months rent on average, expenses per square foot on a yearly basis, and lease terms on average. Typically, you're seeing 2 to 3 year lease terms. That's interesting. You can even download this into an Excel sheet. You know, put it in Moosin or put it in Constant Contact and build out and do what you gotta do. Send out your email campaigns, however you're setting up your your marketing plan. What else should we do? Anybody have any specific things they want to take a look at real quick? We only got a couple minutes.
See, let's let the people speak. If not, you can always fall back on your market. Blair, what about you? Where are you at? Anybody else got a good market they want to take a look at?
Greater Philadelphia.
Nice. Okay. You catch that, Frankie?
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
Oh, might not let me from.
And JR hit Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, there we go. And I'm curious
On the
to hear
Pennsylvania
your feedback
side,
on how accurate this information is.
What was that, Blair?
On the Pennsylvania side, please.
Gotcha.
You have the river that divides it.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. And which one? Are you looking for this one right here?
Yes. What you're looking at are the counties around Philadelphia.
Yeah. And which one? And which one did you want to see?
Any of the outlying ones. That one's good, Montgomery.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Montgomery County, submarket, one of the 9 districts within Philadelphia. 40.2 million market rate rental square foot. or 14.2% of the Metro's total inventory of warehouse distribution space. You got just under 750 a square foot, effective rent per square foot, 2.9% vacancy rate. Looks pretty similar to the previous one, actually. 0.4% job growth, 0.9% household income growth, the multiple other submarkets. Let's go to further details. And then, yeah, so these asking rents and vacancy trends, we can also look at yearly, quarterly, and monthly. And we can even put in custom dates. You can view it this way, and then you can also download it and send this information to clients. This would be a beautiful thing to send to a client who is interested in the different obvious counties in Philadelphia, and to compare the prices and how they have progressed throughout the past several years. Construction and absorption, 1 year, 2, 3, 5-year history, nothing, but there's a forecast. Quarterly construction and absorption, year-to-date average, projected. Wow, this is great. So it breaks it down by years of buildings being built. That's huge. I don't think I've seen that on CoStar
No,
either.
that's great.
That's so critical because it obviously varies significantly, buildings before 1970 and and after that. So I think it's great that it shows the difference in asking rents, the vacancy and inventory difference delineated between the years. Asking rent distribution. Interesting. Yeah, they definitely got the economic analytic things on point, because as long as this is somewhat like close, like this is so much gold of information.
This is amazing. Well, I know we're almost here at the top of the hour. Blair, thank you for that. JR, if we have time, if you want to squeeze more in, I know we've got to bounce here soon. Want to be respectful of everyone's time. If you want to hit Atlanta real quick, we can. And then again, guys, if you guys, you have access to this now. So this isn't, before CoStar, I mean, we were
right,
kind
yeah,
of, hey, we'll help you. We'll send you a report if you need something, right? Reach out to us. You have access to this. So set up your account.
Yep. And if you have any trouble, just go sign in and click forget password, and then it'll take you to your email and reset your password, and you'll be golden. All right, 7:59.
I think we're good to go here.
Yep.
This has been
really
amazing.
Appreciate everybody coming.
Yeah, Pam, we'll wrap up.
What a fun session. And then just so you know, we will be getting together next 2 weeks from now. And let's see. So that is going to be February 6th, right?
Yes.
And before we leave, I just want to leave you guys with something. Like Jabin said, a big part is discipline. It's also just mental conditioning, right? So I've told my team and everybody how much I love cold calling. Nobody loves cold calling. I want to just put a hole in my head every time I cold call. But I've told myself, mentally conditioned to over 5 years, that I absolutely love cold calling. And I do love commercial real estate. But a lot of it is just like the fake it till you make it thing. Don't go too overboard, but you need to, pretending you're happy and being happy. What's the difference? Sometimes not every day is going to be an amazing day, but you still have to get everything done.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, straight up.
I want to leave you guys with that, because you never know when something's going to happen.
That's right.
You could get a phone call on a bridal store from a logistics guy who would never be able to use that property, and you could convert him and he could become your golden ticket client. That can happen.
Yep.
So with that, we actually meet next the day before Valentine's Day. So maybe we'll have to do something special. Everybody wear red. I don't know.
Love it.
So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ever reach out to us. You can work chat us. You could find us on our workplace group, eXp Industrial Committee. Give us a phone call. We're always here to support you guys. So with that, have an incredible day. We hope to see you all in 2 weeks, February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Seller Lisa Warehouse. Let's get it. Good luck, everybody.